Good morning, my loves. How are we? It is very bright and sunny today, so I hope the lighting isn't too messed up. Today I want to make a first trimester recap video, so that if anybody is interested in what my personal experience with the first trimester was, I'm gonna share. I have a fairly unique experience in that I was diagnosed with a condition called Hyperemesis Gravidarum, which I'm going to get into a little bit further into this video. It affects around 3% of all pregnancies, so it's rare, but it's also fairly common. If you think, 100 pregnant women, there's 3 people who are going to be diagnosed with this condition. The dogs are feeling very needy today, so we have 2 dogs with us to help talk about it. Yeah, you guys are so cute. Yeah, you are. So I am 25 weeks pregnant with my first ever baby. Bump check. So before we get into the hyperemesis, my very first pregnancy symptom that I experienced was bloating, and it was like really extreme bloating. So when I come on my period, usually the week before my period, I get really bloated in my stomach and swollen in my stomach, and then when I start on my period it just slowly tails off towards the end of it. Because we weren't trying for a baby, when I started to get like all that bloating, I was like, oh, this is just normal and I'm gonna get my period. So I didn't think anything of it. But the bloating that I experienced through pregnancy was really prolonged. So even though I did actually have bleeding, which I thought was my period, which was actually implantation bleeding, I experienced just this really prolonged bloating and swelling of my stomach area. I have a photo from when I think I was about 4 weeks pregnant at this point. And you can see what I mean, like my stomach, it just looks different than normal. So that was my very first indication that I was actually pregnant and this was not just my period, was this prolonged bloating. And then the second big strong indicator was my boobs got massive. They got so big, it was insane. Like, they changed so quickly, it was wild. And that was what really tipped me off to the fact that I needed to be taking a pregnancy test, because I was like looking at myself in the mirror and I was like, what is going on? This is not normal, this is insane. And then they were very painful. So even if I was like lying in bed on one side and then turned over onto the other side, it would be really uncomfortable and really painful. So that was my second indicator. And then of course the next thing was the nausea and the vomiting. Taking a quick break from today's video to tell you about the very lovely sponsor of this video. If you are a returning viewer to my channel, you will know how much I love Ana Luisa jewellery. I only wear Ana Luisa jewellery, and right now they are having the biggest sale of the year, and it's a limited time sale and they have limited stock. So this is a really good opportunity for you to go and get some beautiful pieces that you will be obsessed with forever at up to 30% off. Ana Luisa have timeless classic designs made with really high quality, I was going to say ingredients, that's not right, high quality materials. They're non-tarnish, long wearing, you can wear them in the shower, you don't have to take them off, and they are just absolutely stunning. My personal favorites are these earrings that I wear. I will link them down below, and my 2 necklaces that I really like to layer. I have these 2 ones here. I think they go really nicely together and they're just absolutely beautiful, and I can wear these to dress up, to dress down on a casual day. They just go with absolutely everything because they're so timeless and gorgeous and beautiful. I'm looking at myself in the viewfinder and I'm like, wow, look how, even Alfie is like, wow, look how pretty it is. So follow the link in my description to check out Ana Luisa and shop their biggest sale of the year, up to 30% off selected items. So off you go and enjoy. Thank you, Ana Luisa, for sponsoring this video. Okay, back to the video. So Hyperemesis gravidarum is a condition in pregnancy that causes extreme nausea and extreme vomiting. The nausea part of it is not what makes it dangerous, it's the vomiting part of it that makes it dangerous. People who have hyperemesis who aren't able to have it controlled by medication can end up with babies with low birth weight. And in fact, in olden days, I don't think it really happens anymore. I'm going to fact check myself, but you could actually die from this condition because, you know, vomiting everything that you're eating means that you are getting no nutrition into your body, and your body resources can deplete very, very quickly. My experience with hyperemesis was that it started around 6 weeks, and this is still before I knew that I was pregnant, and I started to feel sick. And we were traveling at the time, and so I put it down to jet lag, didn't think anything of it. But then of course, once we did a pregnancy test, realised I was pregnant, then we started to take it a bit more seriously, because the nausea was controllable with vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is a commonly used vitamin to reduce nausea in people with hyperemesis or people just with general pregnancy sickness. It can be really helpful. So I was taking my vitamin B12 tablets. We got like high strength ones just from Morrison's. They were like £3 or something. And I was using that and it was working really well. Like, I would take a tablet and start to feel relief from the nausea, and then within about 4 or 5 hours I could just feel the effects wearing off, and I would just start to like double over again slowly. And I was like, oh, it's time for another tablet. So I was taking the vitamin B12 and that was really working for a long time. I would say a long time. I would say a week. So for about a week I was managing to cope with the symptoms just with the vitamin B12 tablets alone. And then the vomiting started. And for me, it was a very gradual increase into vomit city, where the first day I vomited once, the second day I vomited twice, the third day I vomited 3 times, and it just slowly builds up and up. And it's quite, to experience it, it's quite scary how quickly things can change, because you can go from feeling, or you go from feeling fine and normal and really excited about the fact that you're pregnant to you feel sick all day every day and you've vomited every single one of the meals that you've tried to eat. And it very quickly becomes quite scary because you don't know how much nutrition is making it to your baby. And in reality, not that much nutrition is making it to your baby. That is the literal reality of this condition. I actually have previous experience, even though this is going to be my first child, this is actually my second pregnancy. Me and my partner became pregnant in 2021 and we had a termination. But with that pregnancy, I also had Hyperemesis Gravidarum. So I knew pretty quickly in this pregnancy that I would be experiencing the same thing again. I'd kind of had in my mind that maybe this one would be different. Oh, what was that? Oh, Alfie kicked my phone off the bed. I kind of kept this hope in my mind that because I had had a pregnancy previously, and because my body had reacted so horrendously to the pregnancy itself, that maybe my body would have learned that it's okay and we'll get through it. And so maybe when I got pregnant again, I wouldn't experience it and my body would have this gained knowledge that this was not a bad thing and that this was an okay thing and we don't need to react to it. But it was pretty quick into my pregnancy. It was by week 8, I was in full-blown hyperemesis with this pregnancy, and it's really hard. You are completely incapacitated on so many different levels. Like on the first level, you feel sick And when you feel sick, it's so hard to actually get anything done because standing up straight is so uncomfortable. So you're bent over and you're hunched over and you're trying to like get dressed, but you're all like hunched over and you're trying to like get out of your bed, but like every movement hurts and makes you like wavy and dizzy and sick, just sick. And then there's the other level of the actual vomiting and the emaciation that's going on in your body. So you're eating such rubbish food because any food, like everybody who has hyperemesis has different triggers and different things that they struggle with consuming or just being around in general. And I found that most food I was unable to consume, but particularly meat, like any meat, I was absolutely not. I would consume it and then vomit straight away. But I actually found that my triggers were more physical objects in space rather than food. So like my pregnancy multivitamin, like my box of Bassett's chewy, because I had to get the chewy ones because I couldn't take any tablets because it would make me sick. Like if I looked at my box of pregnancy vitamins, I would vomit. Make it make sense. There was a time where Lewis was making me vomit. Anytime that I saw Lewis, this is my fiance, I would vomit. And then anytime that I looked at specific items of clothing, I would vomit. And it's like, to say it out loud, it doesn't make any sense unless you've experienced it. Like, you have no control. You have absolutely no control over this sensation, and you just like, I'll just look at my vitamins and then it's like, all right, I'm just gonna go vomit now. And it's like, what? So at my worst, I was vomiting between 10 and 15 times a day. That was the worst that I was ever at. Most of the time I was medicated, and when I was medicated I was vomiting 3 to 5 times a day. So you're able to get some nutrition in, but the nutrition that you're getting in is so poor. Like, you're just eating toast and biscuits and ice cream. So the food that I was putting in was atrocious in terms of nutritional value, and then a lot of that I would vomit back up anyway. So my weight went down like pretty significantly. I lost a lot of weight, and you can just see it like in your body. Like, I've gained it all back now, and I'm now at a much more healthy weight because I'm through the first trimester, which is the hardest part for everyone who experiences hyperemesis. The first trimester is the death zone. And so I'm through that now, and I've gained all my weight back in a healthy way. But like, just looking at yourself when you're going through this is the craziest thing, because you look like a skeleton. Like, my hands didn't look like my hands looked like skeletal hands, and like your legs go to nothing because it's not just like fat wastage, it's also muscle wastage. Because you're lying on the sofa all day completely incapacitated, your muscles literally start to atrophy. So like, you start to lose any definition in any of your muscles, and everything just goes to nothing, and it's absolutely heartbreaking because there's nothing you can do about it. Like, all you can do is take your medication and just try and eat as much as you can and try to resist the urge to vomit. Sometimes when you get the urge to vomit, you have some level of control over it, because you can just go into a deep meditative state, and you can just tell your body, talk to your, like, physical, like actually out loud talk to your body and say, I'm not going to vomit, I am not going to be sick, I need this nutrition, and I'm going to hold this nutrition, and I'm going to keep this food in me. And sometimes it only gets you an extra 10 minutes, sometimes it gets you an extra hour, sometimes if you're able to get to sleep, you can go 4 hours without being sick because you're asleep. And then that just helps you get just little bits, like you're just squeezing your stomach as hard as you can to just like get it to like push through, because as soon as that food is in your intestine, it's safe. It's the stomach is the part where it's not safe. So like you just are willing your whole body to move the food into your intestine. It's like, just make it to the intestine, just go, you know, because it's when it's in the stomach that's when you're at risk of losing all of that hard work that you've done of actually trying to the camera's just put like a warning that it was actually like overheating in the sun there. Whoops-a daisies, sorry camera. Okay, we're moving to over here. So hopefully my camera does not get heat damaged. I don't think you can see the dogs as well over here, but they are both still here. Alfie is down here and Harry Haggis is back there. I think you can see him. And that noise is Alfie's tail. It's through the bottom of the bed and it's just slapping against the bed. Okay, anyway, so continuing. So from weeks, I would say 8 until 16 were pretty much the same for me. So it was like a 2-month period where I was just sick all day, every day, vomiting all day, every day, and just having a really like hard time. And I would say the number one thing I did to get through it, which I don't know whether like a psychologist would say this is healthy or not, but the main thing I did to get through it was just to dissociate. Just to completely remove myself from my body. So like when, I don't know if anybody has ever experienced dissociation before, but the way that I describe it is it's like if you've ever played The Sims, it's like playing life on triple speed. Everything goes so much faster and your days are so short because you're not really there. Like I just kind of stepped back out of my body. You kind of live your life in the opposite way that you want to, because you want to live your life very present and very like there for every moment and appreciating every moment and, you know, just really soaking in life. But when you experience something like this where it's just pain and misery all day, every day, you kind of don't want to be there for that. You just want to sort of fall into the background and just not exist and just not experience it and just kind of shut down, which is what I did. And it really did help. So now I want to talk about medication, because there's kind of an interesting, I've watched quite a lot of other videos of other people who've experienced hyperemesis since going through it, just to have that sense of normality, I suppose, with what I experienced. And there's kind of a split in the community of people who've suffered, where some people are very like pro medication and some people are less pro medication. And I think that most of the fear with using medication comes from the thalidomide scandal. I don't know if you call it a scandal or just like a I don't know what you call it, but if you've never heard of it, there was this drug that was given to pregnant women to help with nausea and vomiting in pregnancy, and it caused severe birth defects. And it was a huge thing. I believe it was in the 60s. It caused so much heartbreak to so many families. And I believe that that is the main reason why people nowadays are hesitant to use medication, especially to use medication for nausea and vomiting, because this was such a big, impactful event. But I personally am very pro medication. Like, I see the risk of not taking medication to you and to the baby, and I see the risk of taking medication. And nowadays the medications that are used are so heavily documented that we know that they are safe. We know that they do not cause, you know, birth defects or anything like that negative for your baby. So me personally, I'm very pro medication. I think that if there is something that you can take that can help you to eat and to help you to not become emaciated and then have all of the problems that come with that, like the exhaustion and the low birth weight of your baby, and also just general the depression that comes from just being sick all day and literally like living your worst life, I'm very pro that. So I want to talk about my journey with medication and what I was given and when, and what has worked for me and what hasn't. So we were on holiday when I first started to become ill. So we went to essentially like a small A&E minor injuries department to get an injection of metoclopramide, and that was the first drug that I was put on when I got back home and I got back to my normal GP, was metoclopramide. I was put on a very small amount, so 5 milligrams, which they actually didn't, the pharmacy didn't offer it in that small of a dose, but for whatever reason this doctor was like, you need to be on the tiniest dose ever. So they ended up just like cutting the tablets in half and then sending me away with this little bottle of like little cut in half tablets, and I just take half a tablet. That didn't do anything. So I went back again and asked to try a different medication. They put me on cyclizine, again at a very low dose. I don't remember exactly what the dosage was of that one, but it was a very low dose. And that did absolutely nothing. I was still vomiting, nauseous, the works. So then they put me on Zonvia, which is the first medication that I actually felt did something for me. And the Zonvia is, I have it here, if you can see this stash of medication that we have in the background, it's not even funny. So Zonvia was what I was put on, and this is basically a mixture of vitamin B12 and another medication, and you take this one predominantly at night, but then you can also take it during the day. And this really helped. When I first got prescribed Zonvia, it helped so much. I felt so much relief for like a good week where, because the problem is that during your first trimester, you're getting worse and worse and worse. Every single day, you're getting worse and worse and worse, because whatever it is that's causing the sickness in you is increasing as the pregnancy is increasing in size and hormonal viability, I suppose. So you're getting worse and worse every day. So I got put on the Zonvia and I was like, oh my god, relief, this is amazing. But then I was getting progressively worse and worse every day, so then the Zonvia was becoming less and less effective by the day. So I had about a week where I had a bit of a break and was feeling good and wasn't being, you know, I was maybe only being sick like once a day. And things were going well, and then things just started to get worse and worse. So I went back to the doctor and I got put on cyclizine as well as the Zonvia. So then I was put on a higher dosage, so I was put on 50 milligrams of cyclizine, and that didn't really seem to do a huge amount for me, to be totally honest with you. Like, it didn't seem to be doing anything more than just what the Zonvia was doing. So then I went back to the doctor and we changed again, and then I got put back on metoclopramide, but this time I got put on a higher dosage. So I got put on 10 milligrams of metoclopramide as well as the Zonvia. So taking these two is what I have been on for months now. The combination of these two is what really helped a lot. So with hyperemesis, they talk a lot about the 12-week mark and how getting to the 12-week mark, getting out of that first trimester, is what's going to help you to feel a lot better, because the hormones, you know, whatever it is that causes it starts to tail off or settle or something, and you start to get relief. And for me, it wasn't 12 weeks. For me, it was about 16 weeks. That's where I started to, instead of feeling like I was getting worse every day or worse every week, I started to feel like I was actually getting better every week and starting to vomit less and make improvements and be able to look after myself a bit more, and not, you know, like, going for a shower would be like the hardest thing to do in the world, because you have no energy. You haven't eaten basically for 2 months. You have no energy. So trying to wash your hair under these conditions? No, you can't do it. It's too hard. So yeah, 16 weeks for me was where things started to get a lot better, and I started to feel like I was coming out the other side. And that's now where I'm at, now that I'm 25 weeks, so I'm another full 2.5 months past that. I now feel like I've kind of settled into what I'm going to be for the rest of the pregnancy. And for some people who suffer with hyperemesis, they hit that 12-week mark and they stop being sick, and that's them. They're then not sick for the rest of the pregnancy. But for a lot of people, what happens is you're just sick for your whole pregnancy. Like, you literally are just sick, and that's just what it's going to be. Between sort of 16 and 20 weeks, I suppose, is where I started to come to the realization that that was going to be me, and that I am just going to be sick for the rest of my pregnancy. So I'm still taking full dose Zonvia, full dose metoclopramide every single day. I take 10 tablets a day. And that keeps me under control, but I still feel sick every day, like every single day. I don't feel sick all day, which is a massive improvement, because before I was feeling sick all day, just all day. There's no relief from it at all apart from sleep. So now I actually have pockets where I feel nauseous, and so instead of just feeling sick all day, it's like I'll smell something and I'll be like, "Huh." And now I'm sick maybe like 2 or 3 times a week. So instead of being sick every single day consistently, you know, it's spread way out, and because of that, I'm not completely dying from the effects of starvation and dehydration. So I feel very lucky in lots of ways that I am so functional now, because I know for a lot of people it can be that non-functional sickness and nausea for like 9 months. So I feel really lucky that for me it was just first trimester was like the death zone, and now this is very manageable. Like, obviously, yeah, it sucks and I would rather not feel sick and I would rather not have to be taking so many tablets every single day, but this is manageable. I've started going back to work a little bit. I can actually like do housework, walk the dogs, you know, I can actually look after myself and my responsibilities. So yeah, that's been my experience with Hyperemesis Gravidarum. It's really not fun. It's a big fancy word that is a really disgusting and horrible condition. And my heart just goes out to you. Like, if you're watching this and you've also been diagnosed, like, my heart just goes out to you. I'm so sorry. Like, really, all that I can say from my experiences, like, as a takeaway, is just do not be frightened of medication. Do not, like, nowadays the medication is so good. and it is not a risk to your baby, just go to the GP. And I mean go to the GP. Like, I was going to the GP every 4 days, I would say. Like, just go to your GP. Like, I literally pestered mine constantly, because like, if a drug isn't working, if a dosage isn't working, if a combination of drugs isn't working, tell them immediately, because you're only going to get worse. So don't wait for like 2 weeks of like trying a drug and be like, oh, maybe it's working. No, if it's not working for you, go and get another appointment. Literally pester the shit out of your GP and just get your appointments. And I don't know, I'm sure probably everybody knows this, but you do get free prescriptions when you are pregnant in the UK. In Scotland you get them all the time, in England you only get them when you're pregnant. Make sure you get signed up so that you can get your free prescriptions, and just rinse them. Literally just rinse them. I go to the pharmacy every other week and I come home with bags, like bags of medication and like just do it. And I really hope that, you know, if you're waiting for that 12-week mark to get better, like fingers crossed for you, hopefully you're one of those lucky people that gets away with it. But ultimately the end point is birth. Like, once you give birth to the baby, there is an end point to this. So like, I know that it feels very far away, but this is not forever. This is a temporary state of existence, and it will hopefully all just melt into memory when you see how cute your baby is. That's what I'm hoping. So that has been my journey with Hyperemesis Gravidarum, still ongoing, but I'm definitely through the worst. So I hope that this video has been helpful to you in some way. If you're not experiencing it, then lucky you. I'm hopefully that this has just sort of been educational. And the dog has come back. Hello, chicken nugget. Right, I'm gonna go take these doggies out for WLK since it's so nice and hot outside that it keeps making my camera overheat. I'm gonna go enjoy this November warmth. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Lots of love. Bye.